Hello and welcome to another Source Gaming discussion, and for this it's Character Corner. Yes, we are back. It's been a while, but I'm here, and joining me today is Spazzy D.
Hey guys.
And we're going to be talking about Punch-Out! Everyone's favourite boxer from Nintendo, and so far in Smash, it joined in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U with its main protagonist, Little Mac. And he's heavily based on the Wii version, which was the one that came out back in 2009. But before that, Punch-Out! Has quite the unspoken legacy. Like, it had everyone remembers the NES game because of Mike Tyson. And then there was the Super NES game, which was a bit more technical and was okay. But there was actually like a bunch of arcade games before this. Right,
there were two. I guess you might stretch it out to three because the Challenger from the arcade, which is wireframe Little Mac, so I guess now we consider him as Mac. But he was in Punch-Out! And Super Punch-Out! And then in Arm Wrestling.
Yeah.
So
the first spin-off of the Punch-Out! Series.
Right. The first and last spin-off from the Punch-Out! Series.
So the Punch-Out! Has this sort of strange legacy where, like, I think a lot of people consider it as a retro series because apart from the Wii version, like, the last game was on the Super Nintendo.
Right.
So it kind of got, I think, put in the same category that Kid Icarus did and Ice Climbers did. But unlike those games, although Kid Icarus, you could argue now, is with Uprising, is kind of in the same boat as Punch-Out!. Punch-Out! I could see it getting a new character, like one of the rival boxers. Or at the very least, you could get a clone of Little Mac in some way. But...
Right, or at least an assist trophy to take his spot.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit odd. But yeah, I think another character would be justified. I mean, the Wii version, it wasn't a ridiculous seller, but it was a million seller. It sold over 1 million copies. It did well and was very well received critically as well. So
yeah, Punch-Out! Is quite a popular minor series from Nintendo, especially in the West. I think it's a lot more popular in America and Europe than it was in Japan.
Yes, that is 100% true.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of people would be okay with this second character, and there's quite a few choices, and we've picked out a few to look at today, starting with the most recurring character throughout the entire series, and that is you think he's Romanian, I believe?
No, he's Turkish. He is from Turkey.
Turkish, and that is Bold Bull.
Yes, he would also be, I think, the first Middle Eastern character in Smash, although most of those characters in Smash aren't from real parts of the world.
But yeah, Bold Bull has been one of Little Mac's enemy characters in... We figured out every single game but one, the Super Punch-Out! On the arcade.
Right, because Punch-Out! And Super Punch-Out! In the arcade had completely different rosters.
Right. But so that makes Bold Bull like the most recurring rival to Mac, and yeah, he's a much bigger and tougher guy, with his main gimmick being that he charges straight at Mac like an angry bull.
Right, and if you did the hook at the right time, you could knock him out immediately from that full charge, or it would knock you out. I wonder if they would do a move if they would have that move be that way in Smash, like it would be a ridiculously powerful move, but if you countered it the right way, you could knock him out.
I'd hope so. Like, he charges straight at you, but if you can hit him right at like the apex of his run, like right at the end, like his very slight one like frame, you smack him, then he gets knocked back. He gets sent like flying, like a ridiculous amount of knockback. It'd be a great homage, and it'd be really hard to pull off as well. So
yep, he was actually the very first home release of Punch-Out! Before it was Super Punch-Out! Before it was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! On the NES. Mm-hmm. The Famicom release, he was on the cover of that game. So he's always been very closely associated with that game. He was the only Punch-Out! Character to cross over into Arm Wrestling. Mm-hmm. He's been in 5 games. He's cool. His move list is, like any of these characters, somewhat limited. But at least he does have a couple iconic moves, and a very unique boxing style. So
yeah, that's the problem with this game. They're all boxers, so they're all going to be about running and punching, unless they're big cheats like some of the other characters,
right?
With weird ass gimmicks. But Bold Bull's pretty straightforward. He's just really angry and charges. So I imagine he'd be like Little Mac's quite fast and small. Bald Bull would have to be much bigger, and he'd just have to be like kind of like Captain Falcon. I want to say like very hard hitting, and quite fast at times.
I would say that probably a lot of the boxers that are Mac's enemies would probably have a decent amount of end lag on a lot of their moves. Bald Bull especially. I just feel because they telegraph their moves. That's kind of what they do. That's they play Punch-Out.
Well, one unique thing Bald Bull could have, or unique, is that he has he gets really angry and stuff. So maybe if he gets hit enough, like he has like a rage meter, kind of like Cloud's Limit Break, where if he gets hit, you don't get to see the actual meter itself, but when he gets angry enough, he like goes completely red, and all of his next attack does like a ridiculous amount of damage.
I could see something like that. I mean, there's several boxers that you could do things like that with. But I think that's, it's about it for Bald Bull. He's pretty straightforward, pretty recognizable. And I think that moves us on to our second choice, who has been in way less games, actually only 2 out of the 6 in the franchise, but was also in a cartoon and just is a highly recognizable Punch-Out character.
Yeah, and we're, of course, talking about King Hippo. So King Hippo is he's the most interesting looking character, like the big fat guy, and I think what makes him really stand out apart from just the cartoon is that he was the first like really unique fighter that Mac faces in the old game. Like the whole gimmick of punching him in the stomach to make him drop his pants so you can hit him in the face is like a very unique fight compared to some of the others.
The biggest knock I have on King Hippo is that his mobility would have to be awful.
Oh yeah.
And like, think about how bad Little Mac is in the air. King Hippo would have to be 12 times worse than Little Mac in the air. He would just be like this giant tank of a thing. So it's not that you couldn't make a moveless out of him, which is I personally kind of have a little bit of trouble, envisioning how he would work. I don't know if you have any ideas about that.
Yeah, his mobility is pretty terrible. It's might be why he might be more suited to an assist trophy where he just appears and like if you get near him he tries to hit you. Because you're right, he would have to be really slow, really powerful to make up for it, and have very little like he gets knocked back very little. But his aerial game would be terrible. It'd be worse than Max, and I don't see a way you could justify him having any good recovery at all. It'd be an interesting playstyle. Essentially, he's so heavy and so large that he can't be sent flying unless he's at a really high percentage.
Right, and you'd probably have a lot of super armor and all that, but he also would be a big target, so it'd be really easy to get chip damage on him, just like work him down. So it would be a challenge.
Yeah, and some stages, like moving stages, it would just not work for him. Like, you're the person playing as King Hippo has no chance of, like, running through the level.
And he's definitely a fun character, and he has a very iconic design. He's, when you think of Punch-Out boxers, he's one of the first ones you think of. And, that in itself might be enough merit. But, yeah, like I said, I don't think he would be the most compelling fighter moveset-wise.
Yeah, no. So, the next one we had on our list is essentially the villain of Punch-Out, at least the NES one. And the Wii one, actually. Like, the final fighter, the big challenge, and the basically the closest thing to Mike Tyson in the series, and that's Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, in the Wii one, they gave him in the, the challenge mode? I don't remember what it's called, the second time, the title defense mode. They gave him the Mike Tyson uppercuts.
Well, he looks very similar to Mike Tyson. I wouldn't be surprised if he was literally based on Mike Tyson, and is just the
I think the original character design was a little bit different, and I think it might have been based on an actual boxer, but I don't know who it is. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Tyson. But he, he's been in a lot of games. I think he might be second to only Bald Bull. He was in 4 games. And he was the boss of the first game and the boss of the last game. So, I mean, that means something, right?
Oh, yeah, he is in Super Punch-Out. You're right. He's just not the final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay. But yeah, so he's kind of Mac's first big, final boss, villain character. Which, I don't know if you could really call any of the boxers evil, but he would be on the villain side of
He's
things.
more, I'll say this, he's more serious than a lot of the other ones, and he's more of a threat. He's more antagonistic, you know?
Yes,
he's not, I wouldn't say he's a bad guy, but he's gonna, kick you around a little bit, or punch you around, as it were. He's not, like a silly guy. He's not like, a caricature in the same way like, Vodka Drunkinsky / Soda Popinski is, or, kind of a silly character like the Disco Kid. He's, someone that you should take seriously. I said he would be a very rough character to balance, I think, because he's just strong and fast and large.
I think the way I was thinking about it is you'd have to tone down his speed a bit, but one thing you could do is make him very easy to like combo moves together. Like he has less lag. Like maybe he has a lot of lag after his smash attacks, but from his standard tilts and aerials, he's very quick at going from one to the other, because it kind of keeps up the idea, that he's trying to keep his opponents on their toes and he's really hard to dodge. But to balance this, you would have to make him a little weaker and a little slower in his actual speed. Otherwise, he'd be a bit ridiculous to fight. So that kind of, I guess that does it for Sandman. We had a few other minor boxers that we wanted to briefly touch on. Mainly because of their popularity, or because I think they've got something unique for them. The first one of these is Glass Joe, the very first boxer you ever fight in the NES and the Wii version. And it was kind of suggested to us by, I believe it was Cartboy on the team, who said that he'd make a really good joke character for like a clone of Little Mac, kind of like the Pichu, where he's just like, he has Little Mac's moveset, but it's much weaker and much like... He gets knocked back flying all the time, and just not a good fighter. But he fills that sort of joke quota that we're missing.
Right? Yeah. The if you're so good at Smash, you want to embarrass your friend, you pick Glass Joe.
Yeah, but like one thing they could do is there's always that little secret that the final boss of Super Punch-Out, the only time he's ever lost is to Glass Joe.
Yeah, Nick Bruiser.
Yeah. So you could have it like maybe either randomly, or you know how Jigglypuff has that tiny hitbox on rest that causes massive damage?
Yeah.
You could have something with Glass Joe where either like 1 in 20 hits or something else, the tiny hitbox causes his massive damage with one of his punches. Just like one.
Oh man,
like...
his final smash can be putting on the headgear.
Yeah. And then he takes slightly less damage for a bit.
Slightly less, yeah.
But yeah, that would be... I think Glass Joe would make a funny clone character. I know people's perceptions on clones, but yeah, lighten up. So the next one was Aaron Ryan, who seems to be quite popular. Like, I ran a poll on Twitter and with Punch-Out characters few weeks back, and a lot of people voted for Aaron Ryan. Guess he's a dirty cheat.
Yeah, I think he's just a fun character, and he does do a lot of cheating moves that could be incorporated into a moveset. The boxing glove tied to the other boxing glove, he puts horseshoes in his gloves. So I can see there's actually a little bit more moveset potential than a lot of the other boxers, just because he's willing to use weird, cheating things. And you can even incorporate other, aspects of people who cheat into him. You know, besides just, also he does a lot of headbutts and stuff, because once again, he cheats.
Well, there's that guy in Super Punch-Out who can kick you. The
but he's actually like a kung fu guy. Super Punch-Out's weird, man.
But like, I could see Aaron Ryan going for a dirty kick or something like that. But yeah, and I think his a lot of his standard moves could be very interesting with how he does it. He could almost like a wrestler instead of a boxer.
Yeah, he could throw sand in your eyes, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's just...
I think that'd be interesting. And the last one of these 3 minor boxers we had was Great Tiger, who I wanted to mention because Mac has really bad aerial game. Great Tiger would not, because Great Tiger floats a lot and he can teleport and he can create after images. I think like that alone kind of implies that he's very fast with very good in the air, and would be like a weaker version of Mac with good air game.
Right. I mean, he not only that, but if he was a full on new character, it's very easy to make a moveset out of him because he has duplicates and he can teleport and he can float and he can do all sorts of weird magic stuff.
Yeah.
So he's not as limited as most of the other boxers are to actual boxing moves. I mean, he'd still box. All of his A moves would be boxing, but his specials you get a little bit more creative with than most of the other characters.
Yeah. He could have a punch where his hand sets on fire. I could see that. I don't know why, but he could do it. Because it's magic. So, there's one character left to bring up before we wrap this up.
Is it Mad Clown? Oh, it's never.
It's not Mad Clown. No, it's Narcissist Prince. No.
Oh.
So, a very popular character. It appears a lot. Even appears in Smash alongside Little Mac. Lots of people voted for him in my poll. I'm, of course, talking about Doc Lewis.
Right. And, Doc Lewis trained Mac, so you could even have him be a Mac clone, but then he would be a slower, bigger Mac clone, which doesn't seem like a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how to make Doc Lewis as unique, unless, he's smacking you with training equipment and...
Well, he has a candy bar mechanic.
Yeah.
He eats candy bars as his neutral B, and it gives him stacks of a buff. That's chocolate power, and the higher it maxes out at 5, and if you get enough time to max out, then you become much more powerful. It's a very unique fighter.
Oh, it's a very unique fighting. I think his side B needs to be like Wario's, where he gets on his bike and he goes straight forward and just smacks everyone out the way.
You could have fun with him for sure. The jump rope, you could use a jump rope.
Exactly. See, lots of training equipment, lots of stuff to go from. No, well, Doc Lewis, he's popular. He got his own game on the Wii, his own kind of weird spin-off thing that never released in Europe, sadly.
Well, it was a Club Nintendo reward, is what it was.
Yeah, where you got to fight him, and his doesn't he have like a really weird Hawaiian shirt or something at one point, or a tiger?
I was about to say, I think it's like a tiger print jacket. It's been a long time since I played it. And that's another thing, is a lot of, his actual moves, his A moves and stuff can be taken from how he boxes in that there. And I mean, the dude can fight. He is a former world champion in the world of Punch-Out, so there's always that to remember too.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how you would make his individual gimmicks are unique, because he's still a boxer, but... I think you can have a lot of fun stuff with his moveset, and he's quite popular and he's very likable. So we'd have to see. Maybe if the next game, whenever they do a next Punch Out, has you play as Doc Lewis in the younger days, then I could definitely see him being added in.
I just want a new Punch Out. I wonder if people would be upset about a new Punch Out that doesn't star Little Mac because it's been so long since the Wii version. But I think that would be fun. Anyways,
I think it'd be fine. It's arguable if the blonde one in Super Punch-Out is even Mac. So
yeah, I think it just said it in the instruction booklet and people take it for a fact. But that dude looks nothing like Little Mac.
Exactly. So well, yeah, I think that wraps it up for this character corner. So I'm going to be slapping the next two series on there, and you tell me in the comments which one you want to watch. I promise we will not take as long next time as we did with this one. So. Yep. Do you have any parting words to give them, Spazzy?
Keep those gloves clean, Mac. Come out punching. Come out punching.
Sign up to Nintendo Power today.
The Nintendo Fun Club.
Alright, guys. See ya.
Later.